Oh, hello and good morning, beautiful, amazing people. Actually, it might not be good morning wherever you are in the world, but I am just super excited to be back here for my weekly word of wisdom. And this week, it's about actually fitting in or fitting together. And you have to excuse my beautiful background. We're here in the beautiful Sunshine Coast. I was going to give you my view, but every time you see the view, I go down, so it doesn't really work. Never mind. It's all about fitting together. That's what we're looking to do today. So I've got 5 points or 5 things I want to share. First of all, we have been absolutely blessed to be here in Australia, visiting family and friends. And the first thing that we did was we actually went to a friend's church. We went to an encounter night, and then we also went to their church on the Sunday. In fact, we've been to a couple while we've been here. And I was really aware how everyone worked together. Everyone fitted in, doing their part, whatever their part was. Some people were leading, so there was a couple that was in charge of the encounter night, and they were you. So if you had something to share, you could go to them, and they were basically orchestrating the evening. They were looking at how the evening worked, and it was through them that things worked. You then had an amazing worship team, and you had others that were there just to be in his presence. And it was amazing just watching everyone fitting together, being who they are, being who they're called to be, having complete freedom to sing, to dance, to do what, lie down, stand up, whatever it was that they wanted to do. There was complete freedom in that space to be who they are, fitting together, not fitting in. They weren't trying to be conforming and just doing the same as everybody else. Everyone had their part to play and they fitted together. It was beautiful. And then we had the joy, which is why this video actually is out late today. We had the joy yesterday of actually moving it forward because the weather's not going to be that flash, of going out to the Great Barrier Reef. It was stunning, absolutely stunning. And to go and do some snorkeling and also go onto Lady Musgrave Island. Fancy having an island that is just built on coral. And then they've got a tree that, so most of the foliage that's on there is completely like it lives because of the birds that come and nest in there once a year. Like, holy moly, what the heck? So that bird needs that tree, and that tree needs that bird. They're not trying to be the same. They're not trying to fit in. They fit together. There's honestly symbiosis, which was going on all around us, was unreal. And that's fitting together. So that's where all of this was birthed. It really made me see. And then again, with the coral and with the water life and the fish and the algae, and then they nibble on it, and then just how all that works. We can't have one without the other. We need us all fitting in and working together. So I want, okay, I'll share this with you. So that was my, like, just noticing how nature, and then again, the team that actually were part of the Lady Musgrave tour, they were outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. There was somebody to greet you, check you in. They knew their part. Then we obviously had the skipper, the guy that took the boat, took us out, and he knew his part. We had others that knew what they were doing, getting the guy ropes off. Well, not guy ropes because that's tense, but ultimately, releasing us. And then there were those that did safety briefings. There was a scuba diver there. There was a marine biologist there. They all did their part. They all played their part for a full experience. And without the marine biologist, we wouldn't have had any information about how everything works together and the birds and how they come together. It was amazing. And the scuba diver, 14 years, he actually was from Chile, but he was there to give people that experience if they wanted it. It was just amazing. So, how does that apply to us in our everyday lives? How does that ring true for who we are? Well, the first thing is we need to know what our lane is and what our zone of genius is. And if you're not sure, please just give me an 0800, because it's time for us all to run in our lanes, in our brilliance, in our zone of genius, and do what we're called to do and not trip others over by being in their lanes. So when we're looking to fit together or fit in, at the end of the day, and fitting in isn't helpful because that's making everyone the same and putting you in a box, but ultimately we're all meant to run in lanes, and we're meant to run together so that I add value to somebody else who adds value to somebody else, and we all work in the same direction with the same vision and values. So ultimately, when we know what lane we're in, we can fit together rather than trying to trip people up and be all things to everyone in all lanes. And I know I have been guilty of that in the past, trying to be all things to everyone, trying to work out what my gig is. Like, where am I meant to be? But when you know where you're meant to be, you can run in that lane, and then you can work healthily with others. And we're meant to complement and add value. So if I'm working with people, I need to add value to what they're doing. And funnily enough, they end up adding value to what I'm doing too. It's always a win-win, as opposed to trying to be the same as everybody else, fit into a box that actually is not yours to fit into. You know, I remember making coffees. I was shocking at it. It was a gap. People needed coffees to be made at church. And you know what? I didn't enjoy it. It didn't float my boat. I was frustrated because I couldn't talk to people because I had to concentrate on making the coffees. And I felt like I was trapped in. And that's about fitting in. It's about fitting in. I was trying to fit into a gap that actually wasn't mine. And obviously, we've talked about knowing your level of excellence rather than being all things to everyone, and then appreciating everyone for the gift. So appreciating the guy that sorted all the snorkels out so that, you know, we could go and see what we were doing. Appreciating the person who then had to hang up all the wetsuits or was giving out the wetsuits. Appreciating those that the skipper who was then ours to make sure everyone was safe. You know, everyone's got a job to do. And when we work together, do you know what? Not one of them was like, oh, you need to do this and you need to do that. No one was telling them what to do. They were just working well in their lanes. And I just think that is so clear, is that we can appreciate everyone's gift rather than getting cross and frustrated because everyone's not got your gifting. They're not doing it your way. They're not doing it how you see it. And that's a note to self, because I can get really frustrated when I can see something and someone else can't. And it's like, right, we need to work together. So it's about working together, not fitting in and being the same. And then, you know, where people who work together have an internal frame of reference. In other words, they know their genius, they know their good stuff, they know what they're here for, and they're going to run fast in that lane. They're going to win in that lane. Whereas those who are looking to fit in have an external frame of reference. Oh, well, maybe when I buy that car, I'll feel a sense of belonging. Or, oh, when I'm in that area or living in that area, or I've got that new job or whatever it might be. But the downside is we take ourselves with us. So if it's not working somewhere else, it's possibly not going to work where you go to either. And then also the lucky last is we're looking for the good in all situations. So somebody who is looking to fit together is looking for the goodness in everyone and how that can work together. Whereas if we're not, and we're looking to fit in, we're looking to get people back in that box, in my box. Oh no, everyone has to be the same as me. We can end up looking for all the faults because that we look for what's different to us rather than what connects us. And we're not looking for what's different and brilliant. We're looking to put people, no, I need these people. We're trying to get them to fit into something that doesn't work. So I just really encourage you to think about what is your lane, what's your brilliance, what's your zone of genius, and go for gold and run in it. Because actually, when we do, we then involve others and we fit together rather than trying to put people fitting into a box. Because we're all unique, we're all different, we all have a part to play. Looking at that marine life on the Great Barrier Reef was outstanding. Seeing how everything worked together. They were all doing their own thing. The turtles were not trying to be fish. The fish were not trying to be coral. You know, like everyone, they run in their lane. So I really encourage you to think about what your lane is and whether you are trying to fit in or fit together, because it's when we fit together that we get even more than we bargained for, even more than we could ever produce. And I love it when two become one. They actually, when we two minds come together, we actually get a third mind. We get more. So imagine when a whole heap of people are working together, how much more we can get. So I wish you all a wonderful Wednesday, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care. God bless.